Which brings me to the third Rio+20 message, directly linked to the focus of this meeting, water security as a catalyst for achieving food security. Ladies and gentlemen, recent events have placed food security issues at the center stage once again. Rising food prices, the financial, economical, and debt crisis, the growing awareness of climate change impacts on food production, and concern about the effect of political turmoil in the Middle East and Northern Africa on energy supplies and prices. The scarcity of water available for agriculture, coupled with the impacts of water-related disasters, are fundamental to this drama. However, in many global policy discussions on food security, water does not, or not yet, receive the attention it deserves. World food prices have reached their highest levels ever. 5 years ago, 1 ton of maize cost around $100. Now, the world price for maize fluctuates around $310 per ton. And we're seeing similar price hikes for other food and commodities. The hardest hit regions are Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa, where the majority of the world's poor reside. Food price increases affect the poor the most, since they spend a disproportionate share of their meager income on food. Considering the challenges faced by these two regions shows how water and food security are intricately connected. Both regions are under threat by climate change, and this is already manifesting in more extreme events, warmer temperatures, increases in temperature-related diseases and pests, and increased risks and uncertainty from temperature and precipitation variability. Flooding is on the rise, causing immeasurable human suffering along with devastating economic impacts. Last year, flooding in Pakistan along the Indus River severely affected 20 million people with an economic impact of nearly $10 billion. And by the way, this week, more than 700,000 people have been affected by rain and floods in Pakistan, and we hardly even hear about it in our media anymore. Sub-Saharan Africa is already encountering increased temperatures and evaporation rates, greater rainfall variability, along with more pests and diseases. In this region, we have proof that gross domestic product and rainfall are closely correlated, with GDP falling dramatically in drought years as well as in flood years. As we sit here today, drought is contributing to a terrible tragedy in the Horn of Africa. Some 10 million people are at risk in this region, as 2 years of drought and poor governance have forced food prices beyond the reach of most families. In South Asia, an overwhelming 85% of total water use goes towards agricultural needs. At the same time, agriculture is also an extremely inefficient user of water. Water productivity, measured as crop per drop, is one of the lowest in the world. In Sub-Saharan Africa, 97% of agricultural production is dependent on rainfall, and only 3% of the cultivated area is irrigated. This has led to urgent calls for greater investment, both by governments and donors. Rapid population and economic growth, along with urbanization, are changing political dynamics in the developing world. Increasingly, people prefer water-intensive staples, such as meat, fish, fruits, and vegetables, adding to the pressure on water resources. For those working to instill better water management globally, it is critical to remember that these challenges play out in vastly different ways from nation to nation because of differences, including governance, natural resource endowments, and population density. These on-the-ground realities and their implications for development strategies must be understood if governments are to find realistic solutions.